Hello, everyone. Welcome to our pre-match show. Today, I have with me our very own Joydeep Mukherjee. How are you, Dada?
Very well. I'm actually in Bangalore getting ready for the semi-final. Starts day after tomorrow. Just finished a hard day of practice, but great weather in Bangalore, great facilities. So all good. Me, good evening.
Good evening to everybody. How is everybody keeping?
Doing well, thank you.
Good.
Nishanji, how are you?
Very good. How are you today?
Good morning.
Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Sunday morning, the match.
Morning.
Morning, Abhi, Dikshit. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
You guys have got some respite from the heat, or it's still very hot?
I'm in Bangalore for the semi, so I'm okay. Bangalore's nice.
Who are you playing against?
MP.
Oh,
MP
and what is
versus
the
Bengal, coached by Chandrakant Pandit. That's in Allur 1. And in Just Cricket is Mumbai versus UP.
Mumbai versus UP? Sarfraz in his red hot form, I believe.
Yes, he is. He's on fire.
He's having a VVS Lakshman kind of season in 1999. Lakshman scored like 1700 runs in a Ranji season.
That's right. That's right. Nishan, take it away. It's all
I
yours.
think the toss has won by South Africa.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
came in.
South Africa has won the toss, so it's an interesting toss to win because I feel, uh, on a Katak pitch, we still have to see what they will do first.
Choose to
Uh,
ball.
oh, they're supposed to vote. Yeah, I, Dada, you know the conditions very well. Just talk us through the conditions. You have played a lot of cricket at Barabati,
Yeah,
and
that's right. I
I
have.
think dew has
And
been a factor there.
there is a factor also. Let me say that every game that I've seen in the last 2, 3 years, there's been a paint on it, even sprinkling of grass. And to protect against pitch fatigue, they have a lot of they have the covers on till late. So I reckon there will be some sort of moisture still everywhere. When you put your hand on the pitch, you get slightly damp feeling. It's almost like your it's like not a cold hanky, but like a moist hanky. It doesn't give you that fresh feeling. And sometimes that's all you need in a 2020 game. You just want those 4, 5, 6 overs of help if you can. If you can just be in the park, that's good. So I have a feeling that's the reason why, as you rightly said. Along with that, whatever will happen in the
Big news coming in. Quinton de Kock is not playing today. He is injured. That's a big news up front. And India are unchanged. And the other change in South Africa is Stubbs is also out. So Reza Hendricks and Henrik Carlson are in place of de Kock and Stubbs. Abhijit, what do you make of these changes? Losing Quinton de Kock, that's a big good news for India.
It's a big one. It's a big one. I think it's an advantage for India. I mean, we all know how class of batsman Quinton de Kock is. He was in terrific form during the IPL. But I'm surprised. There's no changes made in the Indian team as well. I was expecting maybe Umran Walik in place of someone because I think they need to try it out if they really want him to be a part of the World Cup. But I think it's a good thing that Quinton de Kock and the other two replacements are there. I think this might be going in India's favor. Although I think the conditions suits well for the teams batting second. But I think any given day, need to play it again.
Damini, there are two ways to look at India's decision. The one way would be that they played the first game and they think they got decent runs on the board. Obviously, they could not execute their skills as better as South Africa, and that's why they were on the wrong side of the result. The other thing is that knowing that you can make some changes, you didn't make those changes. So you know I think as a captain, what the team management is trying to say is that look, one game doesn't change the combination we feel is right for the team, and we will
Hmm.
stick with it. That's like showing that we have faith in this side, and
Yeah.
faith can do wonders. One way of looking after it is this. Which How would you look at this? I am just reading Rishabh Pant's comment on the toss, and he says that we didn't do anything wrong in the last match. We just need to improve the execution.
Uh, Joydeep, that just, highlighted my emotions. The last line is a bit laughable that we didn't do wrong in the previous match. That the you just have to be very diplomatic. You don't very easily admit your the places where you're going wrong publicly. It's Rishabh Pant and his team who knows where they have done wrong. Anyways, that's let's not talk about it. In the previous matches, I was asked that whether we want to see any changes or not, and well, in this match, yes, they are going with an unchanged playing 11. And I would say that Rishabh Pant, well, you know let's not pressurize him too much. Yes, he has a responsibility of being a captain. He has to look after his own form, how his team is performing, how they are playing for the country. And on top of that, he himself has to step up to that expectation. He has to start to live up to that expectation of what people expect from him, back his players. Yes, that's a good thing that they are going unchanged, but all they have to do now is all the departments, be it the batting, be it the bowling. In the previous match, we saw that they couldn't execute their plans in their bowling department, but in this match, again they get to bat first, so again make sure that you are posting a handsome total, and the bowlers come out and they do a good job for their team to restrict the opposition does not get away with the match again like the previous. You're matured enough, you're playing international cricket for so many years now, you know your job much better, so just go and express yourselves.
I think what he meant to say here was we didn't do anything wrong in the game, was that we tried our best in the sense that we got 211 runs on the board, and despite that, probably we could have executed our skills as a bowling unit better. I think that is what he meant. When you say that we didn't execute well, that in itself is an admission that there was something wrong with the game. Joyda, coming to you, it's an interesting toss for India. And why I say that is that in the last game, uh, as an opposition, you know that you scored 211 runs and that they were not enough. Now, how much you need to score, knowing fully well that the other team has the ability to come back and chase it. How does it muddle with your thinking while you are putting a total on the board? I personally feel in a 2020 game, chasing is the best way to go for it, because when you're batting first, you never know what is enough.
True.
Because so I personally feel, I have seen some of the great matches. Most of the matches in 2020 are won by the team that are chasing. At least they are comfortable. So how would you like, what would be India's mindset going into the game, knowing fully well that the last time they got 200 runs on the board and they were not enough?
So they were 211 in Firozshah Kotla, which is a 180 Eden guns for me. So I think they will understand that this is a small ground, it's a belter of a pitch, it really flew off the bat. And I think I agree with you. What Rishabh Pant probably said was in the first half we didn't do anything wrong. In the second half things didn't go according to plan. Because when you lose the game, obviously something has gone wrong. He'll be happy with the form of the batters, Nishant, for sure, because that is something we weren't sure about. We were talking about this in the pre-show the other day, that the form of the lot of the batters, including Ishan Kishan, was the question, and all that came through. And this is a really a second string Indian batting top six. Okay, there are about four players missing: Virat, Rohit, Surya, people who would walk into this team. Those sort of guys. Having KL, of course, the four I mean. But having said that, yes, the way you bowl on smaller grounds, the way you bowl on bigger grounds is different. Cuttack is definitely a bigger ground than Firozshah Kotla. So the square boundaries are longer, which is not in Firozshah Kotla. And also, I think tactically they didn't bowl Chahal, because in that game, the only way you could win that game is by getting wickets. And who's the number one guy in that team for you to get wickets? Even if he gets carded for 50, 60, it doesn't matter. You have to give him the ball. Because if he can get 2 or 3 wickets, that's the only way you can come back into the game. But by keeping him away and bowling others, others are not going to get you wickets. And South Africa wouldn't be 210 for two, or 205 for three. They'll go across the line. So I think they missed a trick there. And against a team like this, you have to pick wickets. I picked South Africa as the favorite that day because this is not a star-studded side. No A.B. de Villiers and Jack Callises and big names like they used to be, but they are a strong unit. They are a very strong unit.
Abhijit, coming to you, uh, I think Rishabh Pant had got some flack for his captaincy in the last game, and on the other side, South African captain Bowama is also bit under pressure, and people are talking about his strike rate, and he has the strike rate of 123, which is not great in a format like this. Uh, if you do a matchup of captaincy, how you see this match for both the captains?
I I didn't hear your question, but what I heard is like, how is the match
No,
for the both the captains, right?
I'll repeat my question again. I was like trying to do a matchup between both the
I think there's
captains.
some, yeah, yeah. I think
In the
for
last game, Rishabh Pant
Bob,
got a little bit of criticism for his captaincy, and on the other hand, South African captain Bowama is also under pressure because of his strike rate. So it's a tough game for both the captains.
yeah, I think talking about Babuma, I think Babuma is a much more seasoned captain than Rishabh Pant because he has led the South African test team as well. I mean, we all know, like, he was beaten at the at the in South Africa. So I think Babuma he knows very well, and I think uh, you know, since the players, most of the South African players like Quinton de Kock, Wheeler, everyone, Rabara and all, they were part of the the IPL. So I think they know how the conditions were, and I think it was an advantage for Boma. On the other side, I think it was the first game for Rishabh Pant. Uh, you know, I don't know what was the management was thinking, or maybe they just, well, you go on your own way and do how you want it. Maybe, if you plan too much, then maybe things don't go in their way. So I think yes, but now, I mean, what I see is Pant, if he want to see himself as a future captain, I mean, let's say 5 or 6 years down the line, now he has to make a impact. I mean, you don't get that often as a captain of Indian team, whether it's for any. I mean, even a single T20, it's a big thing. With KL Rahul not there, Rohit Sharma is not there. So I think this is like what we were talking about Ruturaj Gaikwad as a batsman to open. It same goes with Rishabh Pant. You don't get such opportunities now because Rohit is not there, KL is not there, so he has got that opportunity, and maybe he should. It's extremely important for me because let's say, I mean, I don't want that to happen. If India lose this series, there will be question marks on Rishabh Pant's. If players are talking about, he could be the next future captain. So there could be question on them because I think this is one of the you know time for him to prove exactly if he's able to lead the Indian team. I'm not.
Yeah, but just Abhijit, just on this, he also has to be given a full team and then judged as a captain. When Rohit is judged, when Virat are judged, they are judged with a full team. He has got half a team and then he's being judged. That's not being fair to him. This is not a full Indian team. I see your point, and I know that's going to happen. You said it very rightly, but it's not fair on him because this is not the A team of India.
And I also personally feel
Yeah,
that it's
completely
too
agree. But
early.
but yeah, but
I also personally
yeah,
feel that it's too early to put so much pressure on him. Yes, he's part of the core group, and in this series, if you look at it, particularly that it will not never happen that it's a very very freakish kind of a thing that your regular captains, whether it is Rohit Sharma is not there, so KL Rahul, who is the vice captain of this in a larger context of the schemes, he becomes the captain, and then he also misses out because of an injury, and it goes to Rishabh Pant. So I think he will learn from his mistakes and he will get better. But Indian cricket at this stage, I personally feel, needs Rishabh Pant the batter more than the Rishabh Pant the captain. And the more mature Rishabh Pant the batter is, it will translate into the more mature the Rishabh Pant the captain will be. Because I know whether Dada will agree with me or not. Most of the players, most of the captains, they start feeling insecure when they don't contribute as a player, because then they
Yes, don't.
themselves start questioning their place in the side. And when I was making that Bomama point, my point was that you when you see a player like South African captain, you feel suddenly, okay, does he has a place in this 11, should be part of the 2020 setup, yes or no? If he continues to have that 120 strike rate, will you make him the captain for the Australia World Cup? That's the question. And forget about the players. The player himself in the introspection starts asking these questions, and that's where they get into muddled waters, and that's where the insecurity creeps in, and then you start making decisions as a captain which come from a fear point of view, and not as a command or as an authority. I don't know how many players you would see who holded themselves as a captain despite knowing fully well that their ability is not as good as everyone else in the side. I The first name that comes to my mind is Mike Brearley, maybe. Joyda, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, see, listen, as a captain, you also want to perform,
Yeah,
okay? And then you actually get the respect of the players. Now, Rishabh, I think, has been sort of put in the forefront of everything because of how good he is. He's an absolute. I mean, these sort of talents you get once in a lifetime. But I still don't think we've seen the best of the Rishabh Pant that's about to come. I think he's
yeah,
what, 23, 24 at the most. Sometimes we talk about him as if he's 27, 28. There's a difference between Rishabh Pant and a Shreyash Iyer. There's a difference between Rishabh Pant and a Surya Kumar Yadav. They've had six,
yeah.
7, 8 years of more of first class cricket, India cricket. But this guy has been really, he's had uh, such a quick, spot to all three versions of the game. Uh, you know, Daddy player of the team. Sometimes he himself doesn't know how good he is, and he sometimes some amount of maturity comes with age, with playing. And no matter how much you talk to him, he will learn. Everybody is learned. If you see all the greats of today, they've made such mistakes, especially the ones who were a little aggressive. You see Virendra Sehwag, the way he started out, and you see the Virendra Sehwag 5 years later. You see him from close quarters, 5 years later, different player altogether. That's the maturity, a sense of belonging at that level. And
Yeah.
and I'm just hoping that he takes a little bit more time in 2020 because he has the ability to make it up later on. Sometimes I feel he starts off on too high a gear straight away, and then he plays a shot which is has a huge risk factor to it. If he can just taper it down, play 20, 25 balls, and then play the shots, we know what he can do at the end. But you got to still be there. You got to get set, get your eye in, get your feel in, get the blood pumping in your veins, and then go for your shots.
I think the best thing about Rishabh Pant is that his best is yet to come. I
Yeah,
will move
absolutely,
to
no doubt about
I will move to Damini. Damini, in the last game we saw, and as you rightly pointed out, that bowling was an issue in the last game. Now, when Indian bowlers walk onto the ground today, and when there is so much hype around Umran Malik, even Arshdeep, like he gives you that option, the different angle, left-hander, good yorkers, so that brings a lot of sense of variety. And I remember Joyda in the last game, after in the post-match show, said that Indian bowling looked pretty similar, like it was. So maybe Arshdeep get
one
that
dimension. Yeah.
one dimensional. So Arshdeep brings that different different perspective to the entire bowling unit. Knowing all of that, do you think that Indian bowlers will feel the pressure? Someone like Avesh Khan, especially, will be feeling that, okay, because Obviously, you will not drop Bhuvneshwar Kumar because he's a senior player. He's the most experienced player. Harshal Patel is a 2020. Like, I think in Indian team, he should always be there. If he's fit, he should be there. So if you have to replace Umran to bring in Umran Malik or Arshdeep, and which will happen at some stage in this series, so you think that this is a very important game for Avesh?
Definitely, as you rightly pointed out, that the Indian bowlers will be some sort of pressure because from the previous T20 as well, they got a taste of what the South African batters can possibly do. Getting big wickets like a Quinton de Kock will not necessarily assure you that you have the game in your hand when you have those big players like David Miller and Rassie van der Dursten coming in and blowing you away. So yes, they will be in a bit of a pressure, but now if we look at this way, the Indian bowlers have the experience and the talent to tackle these situations. They have just come out fresh from the IPL, and they have also played a good amount of international cricket, domestic cricket, however you put it. And all they have to do is, I believe, study whatever mistakes they did in the first T20, correct them, and come out with a positive approach in this game. And as for Avesh Khan, I think Avesh Khan was perhaps the only pick of the bowlers from the first T20. If we say he was the only person who stood out with regard to India's bowling, and all he has a lot of talent. He has time and again shown it. Just have that positive mindset and come out to play. Don't let that pressure get the better of you. Have that pressure that yes, till the time you're not completely running over the South African batting lineup, don't have that thing that fine, we have the match in our hand, but at the same time, just don't let that pressure settle upon you.
I agree with a lot of things you said, except one thing, that they have come out fresh from the IPL. I don't remember
Yeah.
any season where players come out fresh from the IPL. IPL is a long tournament, it exhausts you.
I
It
said it with
mostly,
regard to a lot of practice. I would say with
yeah,
regard to a lot of practice, T2, because
yeah,
they
but
have played a very lengthy T20 league like the IPL, and then they are coming to play another T20 series. So with regard to that, I stated, of course, it was very tiring, but yes, I
yeah.
said that they have a lot of practice in the Indian conditions. So probably they should be able to read the conditions very well.
Dada, I would like to, I would like you to wear your management cap or your, your team management cap, and tell me, when you're coming out of a tournament like IPL, everyone is tired, everyone is carrying some niggle or something. You throw your body on the line every day. So when you walk into that Indian dressing room now, and how, as a management, how difficult it is to get the best out of the players when you know that they are coming out of IPL is like a World Cup kind of a tournament. Yeah, you are
Yeah.
exhausted mentally and physically, and then you're staying in one city. With COVID restrictions, though this year there were not many restrictions, but at the same time, you still have to follow certain protocols.
No, you're still
So
in the bubble. There was no quarantine, but you're still in the bubble. You couldn't go out. And rightly, Nishant, I think, a lot of times we say the 5-day takes a lot out of you. I've seen players come out of a 2020 game and say they feel gone because you have to give so much every ball. You can't go to fine leg and take it easy. You can't go to the slips and take it easy. When you're batting, you can't take it easy. When you're bowling, you're under the pump. When you're fielding, you're under the pump. So there have been players who come out of a 2020 game and they're battered, literally. So thankfully, the travel wasn't there because the travel had been a part of the travel, and that's a killer because people don't realize the travel. And one thing with the IPL, it's a late night tournament. It's a 8 o'clock match start, 7:30 now. 8 o'clock match start, 11:30 finish. 12 o'clock bus rolls out. You get to the hotel at 1. Then you shower up, go to sleep at 1:30. Next day, 2 3 o'clock in the afternoon is the flight. You go to Bombay. You practice the next day. You play the next day again at 8 o'clock. Again you finish at 2 in the morning. Next day you fly back to Kolkata. So it does take a toll. And I feel a lot of these players are tired. I don't know, this series. This load management issue is a big one, and I'm glad that people like Virat and Rohit and Bumrah have taken it easy because they are the backbone of the team, And if they end up, because after this we play in Ireland, we play in England, we play here, we go there, we go to West Indies, we go to America, then we know before we know the T20 World Cup is here. And it's very important for our players to be fresh. Now, if you look at the South African team, Bavuma wasn't here, Hendricks didn't play, Van Dietzen didn't play, Miller played, Carlson didn't play, Pretorius barely played, so that's a fresh team.
Yeah.
We know some of the players played in the IPL, but only some, 3, 4. We've got all of them who played. And
Yeah.
all the guys who play for Indian players who play in the IPL also take a lot of load because they are the Dada players in the team. If you talk about Akshar Patel, you talk about whoever. You talk about even somebody like Harshal Patel, who's taken so much of load for Bangalore.
Yeah.
So it is tough. It is tough. And
Yeah.
there's no
I'd just like
two
to add,
about
I think a fair point made by Joydeep, but these are athletes, these are professional athletes, and they know everything. I mean, this is what their life is. They are born to live this one, and they know, like, even if it's an IPL, you have T20 series. I think the biggest motivation for right now it's playing for the country. It doesn't matter how many T20s you have played earlier for the country, but I think every time you step onto that ground, I think that's your biggest motivation. And you see, like, I don't, I mean, but you see the tennis players, how they start from, January and they play till November. I think they are continuously traveling. And, luckily it's a team sport. I mean, but still, yeah, a lot of efforts need to be done. But I think, every time they step onto the ground representing our country, I think they need to have that motivation. And we cannot say, like, okay, they had IPL and then, they must be tired. But yeah, agree. But, you still have to play for the country. That's the biggest thing. That's why you
Abhijit,
play for
Abhijit,
cricket.
Abhijit, they are playing for their country. It's not that none of them aren't. Actually, some people have taken a break. Okay, so they are.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, are you at your best? Can you give your best? Like when you, as a journalist, work 3 days in a row and then you're told to do 2 nights, you still do it. But will you be at your best? It's 2 different things. You still do it because you love your job and you will do it. But are you at your best? Because you can't play this sport unless you're at your best. Otherwise, Rohit wouldn't take a break. Bumrah wouldn't take a break. Shami wouldn't take a break. You're playing for your country. After IPL, why can't you play for your country? You should be motivated
Yeah, I
enough.
think,
And they
but
all are.
I think
probably, yeah,
Abhijit, just to add here, and I will give you a classic example. That motivation is never a factor. Obviously, when you are wearing that cap, when you are in that dressing room, motivation is never a factor. But your body, your mind has certain limitations. Now, when I ask this question to Joyda, what is the role of the support staff? Support staff's job is to maximize the ability of the players which are in the dressing room, whether it is mentally, whether it is physically. If someone wants rest, someone wants space, someone wants more balls to hit, they provide all of that. So I'll give you I have this very very I have a very theory that I have based on facts. In 2009, India went to England right after the 2020 World Cup or 20 IPL. They didn't reach the semi-finals. In 2010, India went to another T20 World Cup right after IPL. And both the times it was told that they are just coming out of IPL. They are the most prepared team. They have played the hard, grilling IPL, and now they are playing the 2020. So they would be the team that should be informed. They didn't reach the semi-finals. 2012, Sri Lanka, right after the IPL. India didn't reach the semi-finals.
I think Sri Lanka was late. It was in September, October.
But
IPL
still,
happened later.
they didn't play much cricket in between. 2014.
Yeah, but I mean, so what?
Just
Yeah,
hear me
so
out.
the
Hear me out.
point
2014, we played the World Cup in Bangladesh before the IPL, and
We
India
reached the
was in the finals.
Yep.
In the 2015 T20 that happened in India, India was in the semi-finals. That tournament finished before the IPL. 2011 Cricket World Cup, India played the finals of the tournament and straight went into the IPL. And this year also, Dubai, right after the IPL finished, players checked out from their respective franchisee teams and walked into the Indian dressing room to play the Dubai T20 World Cup. So there's a pattern there. There's a pattern there. I personally feel that after IPL there should be a 15-20 days break. But that's like a that is my it could be desirable, but it can happen or not in modern cricket, I don't know. So I think we have very little time left. We are almost there when the first ball will be. Quick predictions, Damni, starting with you. A player to watch out for, and you're the team you think will win. Not should win, will win.
For your first question, I would go for Ishan Kishan again, going by the performance he delivered in the first T20, and will win. Okay, India, of course, India.
Joyda.
Yeah, I'm going with David Miller as the standout player for India. I'm going with Hardik Pandya. I think he's due for a big one, and I think India is going to pip this one. They need to come back hard. I think with the bigger grounds and the way the conditions, India will pip them this time. They had a bad day with the ball. It's not going to happen every day.
Abhijit.
Yeah, no doubt, sir. Had to be India. I think for me, Bhuvneshwar Kumar from the Indian side today. I think, yeah, same David Miller from South Africa.
Okay, so wrapping up the show, I would say
What
my
about you,
player to
Nishant?
watch out. My player
Yeah.
to watch out for today is Yuji Chahal. His
Yeah.
pride would have been hurt in the last game. That he
Not been
only
able to bowl
bowled.
4. I agree.
Yeah. So, my mom, I think he will make an impact in this game. So I will go with Yuji Chahal, but it will depend a lot if there is a dew or not, because dew makes their job tough, especially the spinners.
The
So
first 2 balls have come onto the bat quite nicely, so there's not much moisture. Just one run, a flick to fine leg of the second ball by Rituraj, but it's not jagging around in the first 2 balls. Let's put it that way.
okay, so I think we all want India to win, not just because we all are Indians, but also because that will keep the series interesting.
Alive. Yeah, true.
And so let's go back and watch some cricket, and we will be back after the match, and we'll talk more about cricket then. Thank you very much, and hope to see you on the other side.
Thank you. Speak soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Right.